So you know the homie Paranoid always likes to ask his guests about stoner myths and what we do and don't believe in and stereotypes and stigma and all of that. You know, like fun stuff that feels good in the soul. But he never has me on his show. And I think it's an excellent topic to talk about. But anyways, what up, y'all? It's NerdGrows. I'm in the garage doing stuff and things.
I'm doing stuff, Lori. Thanks.
And we're going to talk about stoner myths today. So myth number one is that all stoners are lazy. And as I know for a fact, because I believe this about myself, but I also know this about a lot of you in the audience, is that a lot of us have anxiety or depression or other things that kill our productivity normally. By using cannabis, we're able to regain some of that functionality. So I think this is a busted myth just on health benefits alone. Now, I will say that yeah, cannabis can 100% make you lazy. I don't think it makes you an overall lazy person. I think that has more to do with your internal ambitions and self-drive. Yeah, sometimes you get high and don't want to do shit. Well, I think it was Randy Marsh on South Park. He said that weed makes you feel okay with being bored, and you shouldn't be bored because there's so much stuff to learn and do. I don't know, I'm paraphrasing.
Well, son, pot makes you feel fine with being bored, and it's when you're bored that you should be learning some new skill or discovering some new science or being creative.
Yeah, that, I guess. But yeah, I think the myth that all cannabis users are lazy is a bit antiquated, based a lot around propaganda, and especially with cannabis becoming more recognized and legal and accepted in our society, there's more than enough evidence to the contrary. Just look at so many hardworking celebrities, athletes, people in high business positions. Anyone can do it, and you can do it too. For only 5 easy payments of $19.99. I know a lot of people say stoners are fat and lazy, but I think it's wrong to lump those two things together. Lump. I did it. See, I said lump. I said lump when I was talking about obesity. But honestly, most of my friends are either one or the other. They're either lazy or they're fat.
Look at me.
And I just think it's wrong to subscribe both characteristics to them when they only embody one. Myth number two is similar to myth number one, and it's that all stoners are stupid. Now, I don't say that because I think that lazy and stupid are one and the same, but I do feel like that a lot of people who put stigma upon cannabis users put these two concepts together fairly regularly. And once again, I'm the fucking nerd. Don't get smarter than me. No, I'm just playing. I'm dumb as fuck. I know a lot of smart people, and a really good example of this is how we get our cannabis genetics, right? Yeah, everyone likes to make jokes about dumb pollen chuckers and shit. When you really get to know and you get to look at all the breeders, all the work that they put in, all the science that you have to know behind it. You also have other spectrums of growing cannabis, such as microbiology, soil making. When it comes to cannabis, there's essentially endless scientific routes you can go down. And a lot of this wouldn't be happening if it weren't for cannabis users helping to refine the process, refine the end product of our flower. A lot of smart people out there. Just go get to know a couple of them. They're really cool. The third myth is that if you're a stoner, you can't be successful. And I'm not even going to make any of the points I made in the last couple because it's a lot of the same thing. I'll make a whole new point. I am going to argue that the view that stoners can't be successful was due to the oppression of cannabis users and not their actual lack of success. For example, there are some industries where drug use is more tolerated and people in that career path are more open about their drug use, such as comedians, musicians, a lot of people in the arts, basically. And I think with our perception, at least me, I'm an American, we think of successful people as like wealthy business people, and I could see how in the past cannabis use would have been a lot more hush-hush than it is nowadays. And we're seeing a lot more of that. Like a lot of successful people are coming out as cannabis users. We've all been reading High Times for like the past quarter century, right? But obviously people who use cannabis come from all walks of life, all financial situations. Now, the next myth I'm going to get a little personal with because it does hit close to home for me, but it's that stoners just sit around and play video games. Now, I understand that this is mostly an extension of the first myth that stoners are lazy, but I do feel like the video game angle does add a little bit more to the story. So in late high school and throughout college and a little bit after college, like, yeah, I was the video game playing stoner. Now I've been steadily employed since I was 15 years old, so it's not like I wasn't contributing or doing anything, but most of my free time was spent smoking weed, playing video games, and not pursuing business opportunities or creative opportunities or working on fun projects. And for a handful of years, especially during and a little bit after grad school, yeah, that was basically my life, was working video games. A lot's changed since then. I have a family now. I run my own business now. I have a career now. Looking back on it, it was never really the cannabis or the video games that was the issue. And I went to college right at the peak of the student loan bubble. So at that point in my life, I didn't really have my anxiety or my social anxiety as under control as I do now. So I was too scared to really go out and do anything. And then at the same time, I just felt like really defeated because I had all of this debt and no career at the time. So yes, while I will say that I did have a cannabis and video game era of my life, I don't think it was due to either cannabis or the video games. And I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way, especially in your early to mid 20s where you're still trying to figure yourself out and it can be scary to get going. Maybe I'm the exception to the rule. I know all the evidence I gave for this myth is anecdotal, but I don't know. Let me know if you felt the same way at some point in your life. All right, so the next myth is that weed ruins your memory. And I really think that's... What happened? Now, obviously, we can all get a little forgetful when we're high, but to my knowledge, there's been no studies that show long-term memory deficits in chronic cannabis users. Chronic, I said it. He said the name of the show! But yeah, dude, what were we talking about? All right, and the last myth is that all stoners act the same. And honestly, this is one I kind of suffered from when I was younger. Not like after I started using cannabis, but before I started using cannabis, I kind of felt this way. To me, like, you know, like the stereotypical stoner, he's just like, yo, man, you want to go put on a Bob Marley record? I just got a 311 tapestry for my dorm room. And yeah, that kind of sucks. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like for someone like me, I tend to like underground, lesser known music. I like a lot of punk, a lot of hip hop, which both of those genres, cannabis goes with great, but it's not our society's stereotype of the typical stoner that tends to lean more towards like reggae, jam bands, Willie Nelson, Madonna, ICP. No, I'm just kidding. But one thing that's really opened my eyes throughout my years of using cannabis is that literally everyone does it. I don't care. All walks of life. Whenever I go to my local dispensary, it's like a nursing home in there. And if you're going to say all stoners act the same, I don't think I have a whole lot in common with Edna and her Bridge group. Know what I mean? So before we wrap this up, I do want to say that I try to stay optimistic about all this stuff. I am a fairly cynical person. But in general, I do think we have come a long way in terms of drug acceptance and cannabis acceptance overall. I'm not going to go on a whole tirade about the war on drugs or the prison industry or anything like that, though we all know that shit. But I will say that culturally, we have got a lot better. Let's hope that like the government and laws continue to follow that trajectory. But I gotta get back out there to water your mom, so I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.